Hello and welcome back to the channel, and it is my absolute pleasure to bring to you today the Peugeot e-308. Now this is the type of electric car that's right up my street because it is a normal car. It is a normal 5-door hatchback. It's not a crossover and it's not a massive great big SUV. It is a proper car. So what's the e-308 all about? Let's start off with the cosmetics because I actually think it's a really handsome car. I love these Fang style LED daytime running lights. So it's like the Peugeot Lion fangs coming down from the LED headlights. Stunning looking car, really stands out on the road. And it has a nice grille as well, not too in your face, a nice conventional grille. Again, another LED Fang this side as well. So really handsome front end and the 308 badging on the front. The only thing on the front that really tells this is the EV version is the green little flash on the number plate. So yeah, front end, really good. Now the electric version of the 308 is available in two trim levels. You have Allure and GT. Now both versions of the electrics get the 18-inch alloy wheels with these aero blade inserts as well. Looks really effective. The rest of the side of the car, again, nice clean design, nothing too shouty. Nice crease along the bottom of the door, nice side skirt as well. So again, a handsome car from the side. Right, so the back end of the car, conventional hatchback. Again, really nice creases along the back. I like the black line that runs across the boot lid as well, just breaks it up really nicely. It has some stunning LED rear lights that when you unlock the car, actually do a little dance for you as well. Look at that. Ooh. How cool. So the boot space on the hatchback is 361 litres, but Peugeot actually do the electric 308 as an estate as well. And if you go for the estate version, you get 548 litres of boot space. Now this is one of my favourite features of the e-308 is the interior, the cockpit. I am sat in my normal driving position. Now those of you that know me know that I like to sit pretty much on the floor of a car and slightly reclined. I have the steering wheel pulled out of the dash towards me and at its lowest setting. Now those familiar with Peugeot steering wheels, they do have quite a small steering wheel, and you actually look over the top of the wheel in the Peugeot and I can see all of the dials nice and clearly, which is a good thing because we have this really attractive 3D cockpit, which Peugeot do really well. Over here we have the infotainment system, which again is really clear display. It's currently displaying the sat-nav system. And we have this iToggle screen on the bottom as well. So if you need to jump to climate control, radio, mobile phone or mirror screening, it's just a tap of one of these buttons and it takes you straight there. And with the home screen, you can actually personalize this to show the information that you want to have on your home screen. So you can have power flow indicator there, climate control the other side. You can personalize it pretty much to your heart's content. Likewise, the 3D instrument cluster as well, you can personalize that to display the information that you want. I personally have mine set up, so I've got my trip information which shows my miles per kilowatt hour, how many miles I've done, the charge status of the battery, the power flow meter and the speedo just over here. So that suits how I want to use the car. The rest of the car, steering wheel nice and small, really good to hold. Cruise control and speed limiter on the steering wheel as well, so it's at your fingertips. Phone controls over this side as well. Now the centre, we have the iToggle shift, I think it's called. I think that's what it might be called. We have park and the B mode, which is the regenerative braking. And then we have drive is just back towards you, reverse is up. We also have a drive mode selector here, which will cycle the car between eco, normal and sport. Now in sport, that's where you get the full 156 horsepower on this electric motor. quite sprightly in sport mode. And parking brake here as well. Down here we have the USB-C input for the mirror screening. And lots of storage, so deep storage here, and you can get a wireless charge pad in there as well. Cup holders here, little cubby hole here, and a center holder with another USB-C connector as well. So cubby holes are quite well catered for. Nice big door bins, and inside the door bin it's actually felt lined. How plush is that? Also, this suede effect on the door card here, and we have squidgy material on top of the doors, so it really does feel nice and plush. Along the top of the dash, got nice green stitching, and again, soft touch materials on the top, and the suede follows the dash along onto the passenger door as well. And this particular car is fitted with ambient lighting on the interior. I've got it set to blue because it's my favourite colour for interior mood lighting. So yeah, really nicely laid out cockpit, very good instruments. These buttons down here as well are very nicely laid out. You've got a shortcut for your climate control. You can turn the climate off, hazard lights, and you've got your demist, heated rear screen, all at your fingertips. This one is your power button for the radio and also does volume as well. Again, really easy to reach. So yeah, a really nice interior. The other thing that struck me the first time I got in the e-308 was just how solid the car feels. Everything feels really well put together, and this center console here, it doesn't even move. Oh, you get into some cars and you put a bit of pressure on the center console and it wobbles about all over the place. So really, really solid. Some of the German brands will like to take notice of that. But yeah, so really, really good place to sit. And again, in my driving position, really good headroom as well. Other feature that I really, really like is the high definition reversing camera. This particular car has a camera in the nose and the rear. I've just put it into reverse and it's proper high def. It is really, really clear. A really, really nice reversing camera, that one. If you hit anything, then you've got no excuse. Right, so the back of the car. I am sat behind my driving position. So I tend to sit low down with a reclined driving position, and I'm about 5'10", but I have plenty of knee room to the back of the seats. And these back of the seats have actually got like almost like a curve cut out of the rear, so plenty of room for your knees. You see that? See how far my knees go into the back of there? So that's quite good thinking. A little holder there as well on both backs of both seats. So plenty of knee room. Only slight criticism is I can't quite get my feet all the way under the driver's seat, so my knees are a little bit too bent for my liking if I was doing a long journey, but that's a minor criticism. Headroom, again, I'm 5'10", I've got good headroom in the back, and that's no problem at all. If you're 6 foot, again, you should be okay. Got 2 USB-C charger ports down here as well, and my own ventilation controls in the back. So yeah, interior in the rear, nice and spacious. Privacy glass on the rear window, so it doesn't block too much light when you're looking out. It doesn't feel too claustrophobic. Nice suede on the doors as well, so even your rear passengers get a nice luxurious material, but harder plastics on the top of the doors. You don't quite get the squidgy plastics that the front passengers do, or the driver. So a little bit hard plastics there, but as a family hatchback, that's nice and robust. So hopefully childproof. So yeah, all good in the back. So what else do we need to know about the e-308? Well, as I mentioned earlier, it's available with 2 trim levels, the Allure and the GT. The eagle-eyed among you who know your onions will probably notice that this is neither of those 2 specs. This is actually the first edition, which was available at launch. No longer available, but it's actually quite close to the GT spec. Both specifications are available with a 54 kilowatt-hour battery, which has a WLTP range of up to 257 miles. Now, this is a new battery pack from Stellantis, which Stellantis says is up to 12% more efficient than their previous battery. So I'll be interested to see how the efficiency gets on in the range test that I'll do later on. Other interesting facts about the car, it has 100 kilowatt DC rapid charging, so this car will charge from 10% to 80% in about half an hour. It also has, as standard, an 11 kilowatt AC charger. So if you have 11 kilowatts at work, it will charge the car from pretty much empty to full in about 5 to 5.5 hours. Most people at home will have a 7 kilowatt wall box, and that will charge the car in about 8 to 8.5 hours, so easily overnight. So I am really looking forward to taking this car for a spin. So shall we? So I'm sure you are all wondering what the e-308 is like to drive. Well, as I mentioned earlier, the driving position for me is really nice. I like to sit low in the car and slightly reclined. I like to feel like I'm part of the car. I'm not one of these people that likes to sit perched on top. I like to feel properly in it. And in the e-308, I do feel like I'm in the car. I do feel like I'm part of it. But around town, the suspension does a good job of soaking up the lumps and bumps around Torbay. Doesn't crash into broken surfaces and potholes too much. It's not too jiggly on uneven surfaces. It feels actually quite solid. So it's a nice easy car to drive around town. I'm going to do a test of its turning circle in a second. There's a little mini roundabout just coming up. So we're going to do a little test, see if I can do a complete U-turn at this mini roundabout. Let's wait for this bus to pull in. Right, here we go. Here's the mini roundabout just coming up. Right, can I get round in one? God blimey, yeah, that was a lot sharper turning circle than I was expecting, actually. I don't even think I got it to full lock. That is a really good turning circle. A lot better than I was expecting. But yeah, so really, really comfortable. Nice drive. Like I said, it feels nice and solid, robust car. No squeaks, rattles or anything that I can detect so far. So yeah, really good place to be. Now with the drive modes, which is operated on this switch down here, when you're just driving it normally, I would leave eco mode alone. Not really much point in eco mode unless you're doing a long journey and you want to maximise your efficiency. So it just, for me, it just takes away a bit too much power from the electric motor when you're driving around normally. So not much point really. Normal mode does a really, really good job. In fact, normal mode is pretty much all the mode you would ever need. In a minute, I'll get it onto a twisty B road, one of my favourite B roads, and we'll give it some beans in sport mode. So see you then. Right, okay, I am coming up to one of my favourite twisty B roads with a 60 mph speed limit. But before I get to the 60 limit, I've put the car into sport mode already, and a couple of different things happen when you put it into sport mode. You instantly feel the throttle response get a lot sharper, much more responsive. The car feels like it really wants to go. And in sport mode is when you get the full 156 horsepower from the electric motor. In normal and eco, the power is reduced. And also the steering weights up really nicely. It's got a really nice weight and feel to it. Yeah, it does feel really nice. Now the performance figures for the e-308, 0 to 60 is about 9.8 seconds, which in EV world doesn't sound that stellar, but in normal mid-sized family hatchback world, a 0 to 60 time of under 10 seconds is actually pretty decent. Right, so the national speed limit sign is coming up, and we're going to do a pull from 30 mph up to 60 to see how well it does. Are you ready? Go! Whoa! Only joking. Speed limit sign is just coming up here. Had you fooled then? Ready? Here we go. 30 mph. Go! Floor it. 40. 50. 60. So not too bad pull from 30 mph to 60. Probably equivalent to a decent 2-litre diesel. So it was never going to set the fire or the world alight with 156 horsepower, but for a family size hatchback that is pretty decent enough. Feels like a decent diesel. It's got 270 newton meters of torque, again equivalent to a decent diesel engine for a mid-sized car. So it's certainly punchy enough, and around town the way it picks up to 30 miles an hour, that is 0 to 30, that happens quite quickly. So if I just give it a squirt just coming out of this corner, yeah, it really does pick up well. Yeah, 30 miles an hour, it flies through 30, not a problem at all. And as is always the way on my favourite twisty B road, I'm now behind a car doing half the speed limit. Never mind, it is the middle of the day. That was bound to happen, wasn't it? But what was quite interesting is the way the steering on the e-308, even in normal and eco mode, it's light, but it does have feel. I drive a lot of modern cars with electric power steering systems, and it just doesn't feel like the steering wheel is connected to the front wheels. The car's turning off and I've got some bends coming up. Let's take advantage of this. Here we go. Let's see how it does through these corners. Okay, brake into this one, turn in. Oh, you can feel the low centre of gravity. God, it's holding on all right. Yeah, it's not too bad. Not quite a hot hatch, but with the low centre of gravity with the batteries, it did handle fairly flat. And considering it's on eco tyres, being an EV, it seemed to hold on through the corners quite nicely. Not too bad at all. It's actually pretty decent. And just going back to what I was saying about the steering, in sport mode, it does weight up really, really nicely. I can actually feel like the steering wheel is connected to the front wheels, unlike a lot of modern power steering systems. So not bristling with feedback, but it actually does feel like it is connected to something, which is good. So I turn the wheel, the car responds instantly, turns in. Through those tight, twisty corners, it did all right. Pretty decent job. So, all-round verdict of the drive in the car. Now that back down into a 30 limit, you can chill out a little bit. Around town, absolute breeze. Very responsive in normal mode. All you'd ever need in the car. Picks up speed. Torbay is built on hills, and hill starts is not a problem at all. You just press the pedal, off it goes. Easy. Sport mode just adds a little bit more punch, a little bit more throttle response, and if you do floor it in sport mode, you do get a little bit of torque steer, but it's not overly powerful, so it's not going to torque steer like mad. It's not too leery. And when you're just wafting along quite nicely and serenely, really, really nice place to be. Very well appointed interior, really good quality. Everything feels solid, and driving position for me is pretty much spot on. So yes, I do like the drive of the e-308 a lot. Very good, competent hatchback. So there we go. Now we know what the car drives like, and I'm pleased to say it drives really nicely. Very smooth, very calm and relaxing, and punchy enough when you need it to be as well. So would I recommend the e-308 from what I've found out so far? If you are after a normal 5-door hatchback that you want to have full electric, then yes, this car should definitely be on your shopping list. But thank you very much for watching, and as always, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.